Everyone, please hit the subscribe button, as I'm going to crank out weekly videos on how to lose weight, build muscle, and get control of your life. But someone seems to be missing, and let me explain why. 10 weeks ago, Jeff left my house after staying with me on and off for about 2 months. And on the day he left, for the first time in over a decade, he tipped the scales at 288 pounds, which is a grand total of 66.2 pounds lost since we started this weight loss journey 11 months prior. While Jeff was living with me, he achieved amazing progress, often losing 1 pound per day by simply walking and eating a proper diet, which shows just how quickly the body can burn fat when it's given a reason to. This impressive weight loss, along with our quality time together, really lifted Jeff's spirits, which had been battered and bruised by his recent separation from his wife. But as we approached his departure date, Jeff began to feel the reality of having to begin a new life as a separated man, alone, in a new apartment, and he wanted to get home to meet with his wife so he can determine if she would agree to enter into marriage counseling with the goal of building a new, fulfilling relationship together. During my time with Jeff, he realized so much about himself and mistakes he made in his marriage, which we have spoken about in various videos on this YouTube channel. And Jeff wanted to apply everything he's learned towards building a functional relationship with his wife. And although he wasn't the only one who made mistakes in the relationship, Jeff can only control what he does, and he was ready to address the weaknesses in himself so that he could build a strong relationship with his wife. But despite his desire to repair his marriage, Jeff feared that his wife would say no to his desire for marriage counseling, so he became both depressed and anxious at the prospects of building a new life alone. Yet despite this fear, Jeff knew that he had to begin this journey as soon as possible so that he could establish what a new life would look like. So he decided to leave my house 10 weeks ago, sooner than expected. We agreed and put on our calendars that he would weigh himself 2 weeks after he left my house so that we can resume the videos, with this 2-week break giving him a chance to settle into his new apartment and emotionally decompress. Jeff met with his wife on the same day that he arrived home from my place, and she was unwilling to pursue marriage counseling. So it became apparent that Jeff's worst fear had turned real, and his marriage was officially over. This disappointed him greatly, as he was hoping to work with his wife on establishing a new relationship where they both worked together to address everything that had made the old relationship fail. But with her being unwilling, he was officially left alone to establish life as a single man after 15 years of marriage. 2 weeks after Jeff left my house, I began to wonder if I would receive a weigh-in result from him. Deep down, I felt that it was highly unlikely given his state of mind, because the very last goal that a lifelong food addict like Jeff will choose to focus on during times of extreme uncertainty and stress is weight loss. And my intuition was correct, as the weigh-in day came and went with no sign of Jeff. So in the days that followed, I started to feel some resentment, frustration, and disappointment related to Jeff not following through with the planned weigh-in, and I didn't want to allow those feelings to lead me down the wrong path. There are 2 ways to handle feelings: either do exactly what they are pushing you to do, or use them as information, making a decision that's independent of how you feel. Good examples of this are if someone cut you off in traffic, anger may make you want to cut them off in order to send a retaliatory message. You can either do exactly that and risk causing an accident, or you can explain to yourself that the person who cut you off might be rushing to the hospital to visit his dying mom, or maybe he simply cut you off by accident because he didn't see you. Regardless, cutting him off isn't going to make anything better, so move on with your day, being thankful that everyone is still alive and safe. Another example is that you're married and find someone else attractive, so you're faced with the desire of either pursuing this other person and violating your marriage vows, or asking yourself what is causing you to feel this way, as maybe it's a sign that your marriage needs work. It is wise and mature to do the right thing in response to that feeling, rather than merely acting on those feelings without putting any thought into what your reaction should be, like a child would do. In both of these examples, you can act on emotion without thought and risk making a serious mistake that you may never recover from, or you can think about what your feelings are trying to convey, consider the consequences before making a choice, and then make the best decision based upon what you know is right. So in my case, I was feeling frustration, disappointment, and resentment towards Jeff for seemingly abandoning these weight loss videos. Yet instead of acting on those emotions and distancing myself from Jeff, which was what I was tempted to do, I asked myself what these feelings are really trying to tell me. And in reality, what I felt had nothing to do with Jeff's weight loss, but rather it was my own selfish desire to make videos with Jeff that was causing me to feel this way, because I prefer having someone to talk to while on camera. We had good chemistry and I enjoyed Jeff's company, so he became my YouTube video creation crutch that I had grown accustomed to leaning on, and I was frustrated that he seemingly walked away. But the reality is, he had no obligation to stay, as his only reason for being here was to have accountability towards weight loss, and it is his choice whether he wants that accountability or not. But more importantly, I am his close friend, and have been for over 30 years, and that friendship has no connection whatsoever with how much Jeff weighs, as I care about him as a person, and that transcends making YouTube videos or watching him burn fat. The best part of having Jeff living with me for nearly 2 months was the amazing conversations we shared, the numerous laughs, and the joy that we brought into each other's life. The weight that he lost was merely a bonus. So I had to ask myself what the next right move is to address these feelings in the right way, and I decided that my disappointment, frustration, and resentment was directed at the wrong person, as I am the one who has been avoiding making YouTube videos by myself because I found it easier to have someone with me, and that isn't Jeff's fault. So the proper response to how I feel isn't to punish Jeff, but rather to begin making YouTube videos on my own, because there's no legitimate reason why I shouldn't be doing exactly that. And the love that I have for my friend Jeff is totally separate from anything I do or don't do on this YouTube channel. I tried calling Jeff several times over the first 5 weeks after he left my house. We have talked 3 times since then, and he may be visiting me in a few weeks, which I'm excited about. He is going through a whirlwind of emotions, and I assured him that I'm going to be there for him no matter what. During one of our phone calls, Jeff mentioned to me that at some point in the future he wants to resume doing these weight loss videos, but I told him that he needs to focus on getting his life in order and there's no rush to pursue anything that he isn't ready for. He also mentioned that food is no longer what it used to be for him, and that he cannot drown himself in calories and carbs without realizing the damage it is doing, which he sees as both good and bad, and that it protects him from reverting back to 354 pounds of obesity. But on the flip side, food no longer numbs him from the hurtful emotions he is experiencing the way it once did, which means he feels what he once ran from. And I assured him that feeling these emotions without running from them is the only way that he will ever truly heal. I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that the old Jeff that I knew before we started this weight loss journey 11 months ago would balloon back to 354 pounds within 3 months without any hesitation under these same circumstances. Yet based on what Jeff mentioned in my conversation with him, he is unable to run from reality any longer, and cannot use food in the same destructive way that he did in the past, which is a sure sign of hope. Only time will tell whether this newfound awareness will stay with him, but regardless, I cannot be the one to decide what he does next. I did not and will not bring up Jeff's weight or the videos to him at any time because that is part of his life that he needs to sort out on his own. And I don't want him to think or feel that my interactions with him are based upon a desire to resume his weight loss journey. With that said, if Jeff expresses a desire to continue these YouTube videos in the future, or if he wants my weight loss help and support, then I will be ready and willing, because I do want him to permanently lose weight so that he lives a long, healthy life, but I am not making our friendship contingent upon that. What he does with his diet is and always will be his choice, and I will care about him regardless. Years ago, I experienced constant worry about how others I care about were living their lives, and the lesson I learned, which has freed me from unnecessary burden and stress, is that you can't save anyone, but you can love them well, and that is what I plan to continue doing for Jeff. I had the pleasure of witnessing Jeff achieve the fastest weight loss results of his entire life when he was with me for 2 months. And the reason he was able to perform so well is because he had my support and encouragement every single day. He is someone who thrives off of positive affirmation, yet he is only as good as his last pat on the back. And now that he is by himself, he is making an effort to meet new people so that he can build a community of local support that will elevate his mood. I am glad to see him putting forth effort to make the best of a difficult situation. The biggest obstacle that Jeff continues to deal with are seizures, as he unfortunately had one 6 weeks ago when he was alone in his apartment. This is an extremely challenging hurdle to overcome, since the only way to reduce the risk of having a seizure is to lessen stress and get sufficient sleep. Yet currently Jeff is under a massive amount of stress and has difficulty sleeping due to anxiety triggered by loneliness, so this transition is a very difficult one for him, and I have so much compassion for what he has been going through. My pledge to him is no different now than it was over 30 years ago when we met, and that I will be here to offer unconditional love and support in whatever way is helpful, as any real friend should. I know that some watching this are fans of tough love, where you bully someone into doing what's best for them, But I, for one, am not, and even if I were, in this particular situation, pushing someone past their comfort zone who is prone to seizures is setting them up for disaster. I will always be by Jeff's side, as he has a loving heart and he really lives for helping other people. So in turn, I love to help him in any way I possibly can. If anyone watching has encouraging words for Jeff, please comment below and I will share them all with him, as he craves positive feedback and he needs an abundance of love during this rough season of life. For anybody who has gained motivation by watching Jeff's success, just keep in mind that he may have hit a pothole in the road, but he's still driving the car and the trip isn't over yet. If you haven't already done so, I suggest that you watch the first 44 videos in this series, because you will gain valuable insight into how Jeff was able to lose over 66 pounds as a food addict, and anybody who wants to follow in his footsteps can gain motivation from his real-life week-to-week success, and you will also see in real time the struggles and pitfalls that he experienced along the way. I told Jeff from day one that this would be a diary of his path towards reclaiming control of his health and well-being, which is something I truly believe many others can benefit from. Lastly, if anyone watching this needs help in any area of life and wants to be a guest on one of my videos to talk your situation through with me, then please let me know and I will consider it. In the meantime, I will be making videos every week on how to improve your body and life, so please subscribe to this channel and like this video so that we can transform the world one person at a time.